The evening crowd gathered outside La Meridia, one of the most talked about restaurants in the city. Soft jazz drifted through the open doors, and warm golden light spilled onto the sidewalk. Inside, clinking glasses and low laughter created the kind of atmosphere that told you this place believed it was important. Ava and Miles Carter walked in together, well dressed, relaxed, smiling. Ava wore a sleek black dress, curls pinned back. Miles looked sharp in a tailored blazer and dark jeans. They didn't arrive with flash or theatrics. They carried the calm confidence of people who were comfortable in good spaces. They approached the host stand. A young white host, Trevor, looked up, posture straight, smile practiced but thin. His eyes flicked over them quickly, then again. And something shifted. Barely, but enough to feel. Ava offered a polite smile. Reservation for Carter, 7:30. Trevor typed into the computer, then paused. Too long. Hmm, I don't see that here, he said, voice flat. Miles leaned forward calmly. We booked it 2 weeks ago, under Ava Carter. Trevor clicked again, fast and careless. He didn't really look. Nope, he said with a shrug so casual it bordered on dismissive. We're fully booked tonight. Ava raised an eyebrow, not angry, just curious. There should be a table for two on the patio, she said. Trevor shook his head. No tables, sorry. Behind him, a server walked by, whispering to another employee. Ava caught the words easily. Table 14 is open. They're waiting to seat the Parker group. Ava and Miles exchanged a look. Not surprised, just familiar with this dance. Miles kept his voice even. We don't mind waiting a few minutes. Trevor chuckled softly, like they had told a joke that didn't land. Look, he said, leaning forward, his tone lowering into something patronizing. This is a fine dining restaurant. People usually book way in advance. It's not really a walk-in place. Ava blinked. Slowly. We did book in advance. Trevor didn't respond to that. He just let his lips curl into something close to a smirk. If you're looking for something more casual, he said, gesturing vaguely toward the street, there's a bistro across the block. Very affordable. Much easier place to get in. There it was. The assumption, the sorting, the quiet slap. Miles inhaled once through his nose. Ava simply smiled. Soft, controlled, dangerous, in the way poise can be a blade. That won't be necessary, she said. They stepped back from the host stand. Not defeated. Observing. Two waiters near the bar looked over, eyes widening slightly, a flicker of recognition passing between them. One elbowed the other. Is that them? Trevor didn't notice. He was too busy seating another couple, white, casually dressed, no reservation. Right this way, he said to them with a bright, polished warmth he hadn't offered once to Ava and Miles. Ava spoke quietly, just to Miles. He didn't check the reservation list. He didn't need to, Miles responded. They stood near the entrance, waiting. Not because they needed the table, but because they knew something Trevor did not. Their visit tonight wasn't leisure. It was work. They were Luna and Hart, the anonymous culinary critics whose reviews could elevate a place into legend or close it within a month. And tonight, they weren't reviewing the food. They were reviewing the experience. The restaurant manager stepped out from the back, cheerful, polished, ready to greet guests. He stopped mid-stride when he saw them. Recognition hit him like a train. His smile dropped. His eyes widened. And Trevor, still oblivious, was about to understand exactly who he had turned away. The manager, Daniel, approached quickly. Professional smile pulled tight, like someone suddenly aware they were standing on a cliff edge. Good evening, he said, voice warm but trembling at the edges. Welcome to La Meridia. I'm Daniel, the general manager. Is everything all right here? Trevor straightened a bit, sensing a shift, but not understanding it. Oh, yeah, he said casually. They didn't have a reservation. I suggested they try somewhere more casual. Daniel froze. His eyes flicked to the reservation screen, where Carter, 7:30, VIP note attached, glowed like a warning light. A note every staff member had been briefed about that afternoon. Priority service, confidential, discreet. Luna and Hart, the critics whose words could turn culinary dreams to dust. Daniel's jaw tightened, only slightly. but enough to make his thoughts visible. He turned back to Miles and Ava, posture straightening with real respect. "Mr. and Mrs. Carter," he said slowly, carefully, "your table is ready. I sincerely apologize for the misunderstanding." Trevor blinked. His head snapped toward them. "Wait, Carter?" he repeated as if hearing it for the first time. Ava tilted her head just a fraction, expression unreadable. "Yes," she said, "that would be us." Trevor laughed under his breath, disbelief leaking out. "You mean you're—" Miles met his eyes. Not angry, just deeply certain. "Yes, we are." Recognition hit Trevor like a wave to the chest. His confidence dissolved. His smirk vanished. He swallowed, hard. I didn't know, I thought—" Ava's voice was calm, steady, precise. "You thought we didn't belong here?" Trevor opened his mouth, but no words came. Daniel cut in, firm, controlled, quiet. "That's enough. I'll handle this." Trevor stepped back, face pale. Daniel gestured politely toward the dining room. "Please, follow me." Ava and Miles walked behind him, graceful and composed. Not triumphant, not smug. Just rightfully present. The dining room was elegant. White tablecloths, soft candlelight, clean lines and warm tones. Conversations fell slightly as guests took notice. Daniel seated them at an intimate table with a view of the kitchen and the live jazz duo. A server approached immediately with chilled, sparkling water. Not asked for, simply appropriate. "If there's anything else," Daniel began. Ava lifted a hand, stopping him gently. "No special treatment," she said. "Just the service anyone should receive." Daniel nodded, humbled. "Of course." As he walked away, Trevor hovered near the host's stand, eyes wide, breath shallow, watching the room like it was collapsing around him. Meanwhile, Ava and Miles sat comfortably, menus unopened. "We'll give them a fair review," Miles murmured. Ava nodded. "Of course." She let her hand rest lightly on his. "We always do." But fairness does not mean kindness. Fairness means truth. And the first course of the evening had already been served. Service moved thoughtfully around Ava and Miles now. Servers attentive, posture straight, eyes aware. Not panicked, not frantic, just correct. The room felt different when everyone understood what was at stake. Their server, Lucia, approached with a genuine smile. Warm, professional, nothing forced. "Welcome to La Meridia," she said. "May I start you with our chef's tasting suggestion? It highlights seasonal ingredients from local farms." Miles returned her smile. "That would be wonderful." Lucia nodded and moved to relay the order. No hesitation, no tension. She didn't hover. She didn't stumble. She simply did her job well. Ava watched her leave, appreciating the small things. This part of the review would be kind. Meanwhile, from across the dining room, Trevor stood stiff, like a statue melting under stage lights. His eyes flicked toward them over and over, shoulders tight, jaw clenched. His heartbeat felt visible in the pulse of his neck. Ava didn't look at him. She didn't need to. The restaurant spoke for him. The first dish arrived, roasted carrot soup with ginger and toasted fennel seeds. Golden, smooth, aromatic. Ava inhaled gently, tasting before tasting. Miles sampled it with quiet concentration. "Balanced warmth," Miles said softly. "Depth without heaviness," Ava agreed. They didn't speak about Trevor. They didn't have to. Reality had already spoken louder than anything they could say. The second course arrived, fresh herb pasta with lemon oil. Lucia delivered it gracefully. Trevor, unable to sit still in his guilt, edged closer to their table, as if proximity might undo what happened. He stopped just short of them, voice tight, words fumbling out. "Listen, about earlier. I didn't mean—" Ava set her fork down, slow, intentional, not dramatic, just clear. "We're dining," she said gently. "This isn't the time." Trevor froze, embarrassment crawling up his spine. Lucia glanced over, recognizing the moment immediately, stepping slightly closer, not to defend or confront, but simply to maintain dignity in the room. Trevor stepped back, retreating like someone suddenly aware of how loud they were in a quiet place. Dinner continued. The kitchen was talented. The flavors were thoughtful. The atmosphere was elegant. But the experience had already been marked, and restaurants, Ava knew well, were judged not only by their plates, but by their doors. When dessert came, lavender creme brulee with candied citrus, Miles leaned back in his chair, thoughtful. He spoke quietly, but with great meaning. You know what's sad? He said. It didn't have to be this kind of story. Ava nodded slowly. No, she said, it didn't. Not every mistake is cruelty, but some assumptions carry the weight of history in their shadows. A restaurant can fix service, it can fix training, it can fix systems, but only if someone acknowledges the wound. When the check arrived, printed discreetly with no mention of identity or status, Ava signed it. They didn't ask for a discount. They didn't reveal their review. They simply stood, coats in hand, poised and quiet. As they walked toward the exit, the room shifted again. Conversation softening, eyes following, recognition blooming like a slow sunrise. At the door, Ava paused. Trevor stood there, hands shaking slightly. Maya, I mean, Miss, I... He couldn't form the words. Ava met his eyes, not with cruelty, but with clarity. Remember how you treated us, she said softly. Because next time, you won't know who's standing in front of you either. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Truth spoken calmly can land louder than shouting. She stepped out into the cool evening air, Miles beside her. The night felt quiet, full, settled. And inside the restaurant, Trevor finally understood the lesson that had been sitting at the host stand the entire time. Respect should never depend on recognition. The review did not come the next day, or the day after. Ava and Miles never rushed their words. They let time settle emotions, allowed their memory to sharpen, not blur. Truth deserved precision. 1 week later, at exactly 10:00 a.m., the newest article appeared on Luna and Heart Reviews, the most trusted food critique column in the region. No theatrics, no dramatic headline. Just La Meridia, a lesson in hospitality. The piece began the way all their reviews did. Balanced, fair, observant. It praised the chef. Flavors are thoughtful and seasonal. The kitchen shows strong discipline and a respect for ingredients. It praised Lucia, the server. Service at the table was warm, attentive, sincere. A model for hospitality done right. And then, gently, but unmistakably, it addressed the truth. However, the first point of contact in a dining experience shapes everything that follows. A restaurant may serve exceptional food, but if a guest is made to feel unwelcome at the door, the meal has already been compromised. No insults, no attacks, just clarity. The review didn't name Trevor. It didn't need to. Everyone knew. We were encouraged to seek a more casual place, despite having a confirmed reservation listed in the system. Hospitality is not about performance once someone is seated. It begins the moment they arrive. The closing line landed like quiet thunder. Respect should never be something a guest has to earn. By noon, the article had been shared hundreds of times. Local restaurant groups discussed it in private chat threads. Food bloggers dissected every sentence. Regular diners read it silently and nodded. Because everyone has seen what Ava and Miles experienced. Some from one side of the host stand, some from the other. At La Meridia, the impact was immediate. Customers canceled reservations, not vindictively, just choosing places where hospitality was real. Daniel, the manager, held an emergency staff meeting. Not to shame, not to scold, but to fix. Trevor sat stiffly, knowing the weight of his role in what happened. He didn't speak. He didn't defend himself. For the first time, he listened. Daniel addressed the team. We don't treat people based on who we think they are. We treat them with respect because they walked through our door. He paused, steady, grounded. That's the standard now. Trevor swallowed, hard, but nodded. A real nod. Not a performance. He would learn from this, or he would not stay. Across the city, Ava and Miles sat in their kitchen sharing coffee, the review open on a tablet between them. Their home was warm, quiet, filled with the smell of cinnamon and toasted bread. Miles looked at Ava, gentle. You wrote that beautifully. Ava smiled, soft, small. It needed to be said. Then she closed the tablet, and they moved on with their day. No celebration, no victory lap. Because the point was never to win. The point was to change something. 2 months passed. La Meridia was different now, not in decor or menu, but in spirit. The atmosphere felt warmer, more attentive, more human. New staff had been trained, old habits corrected. The front of house handbook now included a simple guiding principle printed on the first page. Hospitality begins with dignity. And people noticed. The restaurant didn't collapse, it evolved. One evening, Ava and Miles returned. Not undercover, not anonymous. They came openly, requested under Carter, just as before. This time, Trevor was the one who spotted them first. He didn't rush. He didn't panic. He simply straightened his posture and walked to greet them with clear, steady respect. "Welcome back to La Meridia," he said. His tone was sincere, not performative. "A table for two is ready for you. We're glad you're here." Ava watched him for a long second, measuring not his words, but the truth behind them. And she nodded. "Thank you." He led them to their table. No hesitation, no tension. Lucy appeared with that same warm smile, delighted to see them again. The chef, who had feared for weeks that the review might overshadow his work, stepped out of the kitchen to greet them personally, gratitude softening the lines of his face. "We've been working hard," he said quietly. "To make sure our service reflects the food we serve." Ava smiled. "We noticed. The meal was exceptional. But what mattered most wasn't on the plate. It was at the door." At the end of the night, as Ava and Miles stood to leave, Trevor approached. Not cornering, not performing, just present. "I want to thank you," he said. "Not for coming back, though I'm grateful you did, but for holding us accountable. I didn't understand then. I do now. And I'm learning." Ava's expression softened. Not into forgiveness, but into recognition of effort. Growth was not owed, but it could be acknowledged. "I'm glad," she said. "Keep learning. Keep doing the work. That's how change lasts." Trevor nodded, deeply, sincerely. Ava and Miles stepped out into the evening once again. Same doors, same city. But something real had shifted. Not a grand revolution, not a public apology spectacle, just a change in how one place greeted the world. And change, like seasoning, spreads quietly, until one day you can taste it everywhere. Ava slipped her arm through Miles's. "You hungry enough to try dessert somewhere else?" Miles laughed. "Always." They walked down the street together, not as critics tonight. Just two people who earned their place everywhere they go without needing permission.